Good morning. How's everybody doing? I'm basically at the end of this painting, and there's just a few more things that I want to incorporate. Basically, getting the shadows to do their thing, which is so very important because you have to have a certain amount of contrast in order for things to work out well. So I'm using soft pastels, and you want to have a light against the dark. And so I'm just working in little bitty areas. You can still see the background, which I did in acrylic paint. And then I put a clear coat of clear acrylic gesso on top. It allows you, when you're doing pastels, in my opinion, sometimes you can't cover the entire paper. So, with that being said, if you can't cover the entire paper and you would like to have me, I would like to have something other than white showing from the background. These last strokes I'm making are really directional, and to me will give a little bit more movement and things to the piece. And there's some corrections I'd like to make. Well, I don't know if they're corrections or just subtle little changes I would like to make. And I try to always put a light against a dark because that helps to give a three or more three-dimensional quality to your piece. And so to me, it's effective to do that. And I'll see some small things that I want to change. I'm growing these flowers on the side of my house, and every year I just love to see them when they break through their pod. I guess that's what you call it, a pod. I'm not really sure. But like I said, right now I'm just going through little areas and trying to allow the shadows really to do their thing, which I feel like is very important, and also the highlights. But it just seems to um, make the piece pop a little. It puts stuff in the background, and it also brings things forward because if you have a lighter something next to it, you can really see the contrast, and it really makes it look, in my opinion, a whole lot better. So I'm just really kind of glazing over. You still see the color that's up under here, but I'm glazing over with a gray, working on some of the shadows. And I also have to go back and put in some of the highlights, like right here. That pushed that back a little bit. At least I think it did. And these pots look like they have four little sides. In order for that to really, three or four little sides, I'm not really sure. And so, like I said, I'm just glazing over, trying to make it pop out some more. It's so funny. After all the work you do on a piece, um, the last strokes you make will be the first strokes that people see. And then you really realize how important your last strokes are. I'm just simply glazing over with a new pastel I don't know if you can really see the difference of what I'm doing, but I can. And I really enjoy working with pastels because it's a difference between a pastel and acrylic paint. And I use acrylic. That is my medium also. It's acrylic. And I sit outside and so you will hear my neighbors in the background, people walking down the street. But I sit outside for two reasons. I'm getting older and I can, I don't have enough lighting in the house. And pastels colors are really kind of close when you're not in enough lighting, when you don't have enough lighting. And so I want the true color or the color I feel like it's close enough to what I'm trying to accomplish. So I don't know if it's absolutely true. 'Cause I like exploring color as well. You know, it's just a fun medium. And so I'm enjoying it very much so. I've always appreciated pastel artists. I just love the way the texture of the paint pastels sit on your surface. I did this surface myself. This is a rag mat. I do some custom framing, and I'll cut it to the size I like. And then after that, I use a regular jet sew. And after the regular jet sew dries, I'll do a drawing. Sometimes I use a grid. Sometimes I just draw straight out. And after I do that part, um, I've been using the ink and tints blocks. And I've done a couple of videos showing you my process with the ink tints blocks. They are so much fun. And they are, when they're wet, they don't, I mean, when they're dry, they're similar to watercolor. But when they dry, they don't bleed. So, whatever you put down is permanent. And I really, really like that aspect of it. Simply because you don't want to put something down and then have to worry about it running or something like that. If you have to re-wet it, you don't want to worry about it running or anything like that. And so I really, really like the aspect of the ink tints blocks. Or sometimes I just use acrylic paint. I like to use the opposite color from the color wheel. So most of this is green, and the opposite color would be reds or oranges, and so I like that as well. I do a little bit more blending than a lot of people do. So there's that. I'm really trying to build up my subscribers. I don't know how people get so many subscribers. I don't know if I'm not giving enough information out, but I really basically just really love to paint. And I appreciate everybody who has watched my videos. The reason why I do a lot of smoothing in the background It's because it's um, really kind of out of focus. And so um, I want the flower bud to sit in the foreground. Excuse me. So I blend a little bit up here, but just very gently and a very light touch. Like I said, your last strokes or your last is what people see. Is what you put down last. There are going to be a few little areas that I'm going to use white right here. I don't really use a lot of white. Well, I use white, but not a lot in my pastel paintings. But I do want you to see the direction of the sun. I've used some yellows. The lightest yellow I have, and the lightest um, blue I have. And with pastels, you can never just have enough colors. I mean, you can, but I bought some inexpensive pastels, and boy, was that a waste of money. So if you can afford to, if you want to start in pastels, I tell you the set that was most helpful to me when I first started was Paul Rubin pastels because they're not very expensive and they really are good in my opinion. So I would suggest that you use Paul Rubin pastels if you wanted to get started in soft pastels. This is like my second year in pastels, and I want to thank you guys very much for your time, and I hope you subscribe. I think I'm about to finish with this painting now, and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you so very much. Bye.